consistency. It became plainly vicious. It was accompanied by what I can only describe as the most extraordinary noises. There were squeaks growing angrier and shriller as the minutes passed, what seemed like gaspings for breath, and a peculiar buzzing sound like, yet unlike, the purring of a cat. The creature's resentment at its want of success in attracting attention was unmistakable. The tapping became like the clattering of hailstones. It kept up a continuous noise with its cries and pantings. There was the sound as of some large body being rubbed against the glass, as if it were extending itself against the window, and endeavouring, by force of pressure, to gain an entrance through the pane. So violent did its contortions become, that I momentarily anticipated the yielding of the glass, and the excited assailant coming crashing through. Considerably to my relief, the window proved more impregnable than seemed at one time likely. The stolid resistance proved, in the end, to be too much either for its endurance or its patience. Just as I was looking for some fresh manifestation of fury, it seemed rather to tumble than to spring off the sill. Then came, once more, the same sound of quietly retreating footsteps, and what, under the circumstances, seemed odder still, the same closing of the gate. During the 2 or 3 hours which immediately ensued nothing happened at all out of the way. And then took place the most surprising incident of all. The clock had struck 10 some time before. Since before the striking of the hour, nothing and no one had passed along what was evidently the little frequented road in front of that uncanny house. On a sudden 2 sounds broke the stillness without, of someone running, and of cries. Judging from his hurrying steps, someone seemed to be flying for his life, to the accompaniment of curious cries. It was only when the runner reached the front of the house that, in the cries, I recognised the squeaks of the persistent caller. I imagined that he had returned, as before, alone, to renew his attacks upon the window, until it was made plain, as it quickly was, that with him was some sort of a companion. Immediately there arose from without the noise of battle. 2 creatures, whose cries were, to me, of so unusual a character that I found it impossible to even guess at their identity, seemed to be waging war to the knife upon the doorstep. After a minute or 2 of furious contention, victory seemed to rest with one of the combatants, for the other fled, squeaking as with pain. While I listened, with strained attention, for the next episode in this queer drama, expecting that now would come another assault upon the window, to my unbounded surprise I heard a key thrust in the keyhole, the lock turned, and the front door thrown open with a furious bang. It was closed as loudly as it was opened. Then the door of the room in which I was dashed open with the same display of excitement and of clamour. Footsteps came hurrying in. The door was slammed to with a force which shook the house to its foundations. There was a rustling as of bedclothes, the brilliant illumination of the night before, and a voice which I had only too good reason to remember said, "Stand up." I stood up, automatically, at the word of command, facing towards the bed. There, between the sheets, with his head resting on his hand, in the attitude in which I had seen him last, was the being I had made acquaintance with under the circumstances which I was never likely to forget. The same, yet not the same. End of chapter 4.